Dad, what was it like when you were my age?
Times sure have changed since I was young. You'd hardly believe it.
Really?
You and me, son, we come from a proud family.
You mean we aren't just, boxes?
Corrugated, son, and that's something to be proud of. Scooch on over here and I'll tell you all about it, because our family history is pretty cool. Today's modern corrugated containers are descended from a proud line of boxes going back more than a century. We fought in wars, helped advance the fields of science and medicine. We worked hard in those days, and we liked it.
Wait, I think I have to go pee.
You're a box kid. Cross your flaps. It all started over 100 years ago. In the 1800s, anything that had to go in a box went into a box made of wood. But they were heavy and kind of splintery, and they used up a lot of trees. A lot of times, the boxes weighed more than the stuff they were carrying. But way back in the early 1900s, someone had the idea of putting a fluted sheet of paper between two flat sheets to create a lightweight, rigid board that could be cut and formed into boxes. And your great-great-granddad, Ezekiel Jeremiah Box, was born. Old Zeke was light as paper, but nearly as strong as wood. The railways recognized his strength, and soon his generation were riding the rails, carrying food and supplies for a growing land. In those days, printing was pretty basic, just single-color ink on finished cardboard. But they thought it was pretty fancy, and business was booming. The first corrugated cardboard plant in Canada opened in 1909, and our first linerboard mill in 1913, making more than 40 tons a day.
Wow, that's a lot of trees.
Hold that thought, young corrugated. Technology was everywhere. Radio, TV, airplanes, rockets, and we were there at every turn, carrying spare parts and finished products from manufacturers to consumers. By the time old Zeke retired, boxes were getting pretty advanced. Double wall, even triple wall corrugated was developed in different combinations of fluting sizes to create stronger boxes for different needs. The Mullen test and edge crush test were developed to help people choose the best packaging for their needs. My grandfather, Zeke Jr., was a BC double-wall board with a Mullen burst of 275. He could really go places.
Wow, he was handsome.
Yeah, and I think you have his flaps. Printing techniques improved too, and before long, we could pre-print whole rolls of linerboard paper in full-color inks before production, so finished boxes could look as impressive on the outside as the stuff they carried inside. That's my mom and dad in the 60s. They were a little far out back then.
Groovy, Dad.
Boxes were everywhere. We carried rocket parts for the moon launch in the 60s. We shipped records in the 70s when disco was cool. We shipped fanny packs and shoulder pads to people with embarrassing 80s fashion sense.
But wasn't that a lot of trees?
Well, that's what we thought. In the 70s, recycling was barely a thing. So our industry took the lead in doing something about it, before legislation and without government subsidies. Companies in Quebec and Ontario started making linerboard from recycled paper as early as the late 60s. And over just a couple of decades, we've created a nearly circular economy. You and me, we could be almost 100% recycled fiber.
Wow, really?
Today's cardboard boxes are made on modern, high-speed, computerized production lines as sophisticated as any assembly line in the world.
And what happened to your great-great-grandfather?
As long as people keep recycling, son, there's a little of old Zeke in all of us.
To learn more about Canada's cardboard and containerboard industry, visit cccabox.org.